is our tuna melt hand pies. And one of the things that I really like about the tuna melt hand pies and the gnocchi we'll be making later is that they're really inexpensive, but they're very comforting foods. So what I'm going to do, the first thing we're going to do is mix up our tuna. You go for it.
Okay, so we have celery here, cut up celery. We have cut up pickles, little pieces of pickle. We've got onion, red onion, and it looks like, yeah, a little bit of red onion. Want the cheese in there as well, everything. So the cheese, there's white and cheddar cheese. I'm sure you can pick whatever cheese you want. It's all shredded up. These are all the same size bowls. And then there's, how many cans of tuna would you say?
It's 1 can of water packed tuna.
Of water packed tuna.
And I do send the recipe along too.
Okay.
So that you guys can see. That can go in later.
Okay.
Oh no, that can go in right now.
Is this the mayonnaise?
That's the mayonnaise.
And the mayonnaise goes in. Looks like there's probably about 5 tablespoons in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to mix it all together.
And I've made this like 3 times for the family this week just to practice it. And everybody really liked it. Because you don't really think about putting tuna in puff pastry sometimes, but it's a nice variation. And tuna melts are famous and popular all over the world. And they're very comforting, you know. Nice to have something like this on hand, and it's really easy to make. Okay. So what we're gonna do, this is our quick little meal that we're gonna pop into the oven while we make our gnocchi.
So we're gonna fold it in half. So I think we're just putting it on the left one side we picked.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna do this, and I'll spread it out after a little bit.
Perfect, sis. Ooh, nice work.
Good coaching.
Oh, the accolades for putting tuna on.
We cheer each other on.
So funny. Okay.
We're lifting up and edifying.
Oh,
yeah.
Well done.
It smells so good. It's all fresh with the celery and
you know what? 1 can of tuna with all of this goes so far. And it just, I mean, really, I realized when I went to Walmart, and I'm going to show you the package I bought. I'll bring it over. This has got to be the best puff pastry I've bought in a while. And it was $3.67. The great value. Okay. And with the can of tuna and then all the fillings, it's like probably $5 or less to make all of this.
Wow.
So, right. So what we're going to do is probably just seal the edges.
Seal the edge.
Yeah. Give everything a little pinch around the edges. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a fork and just poke some holes in here.
Okay.
Which I have a little fork.
Do you want me to put the egg on now or wait for the fork? Okay.
Fine.
If you do have a little brush to put egg yolk or whatever eggs on, that's fine. Or you don't, you can just
use your hands if you want. It's family. We're family here.
Yeah. Tell me if I'm putting on
That's
enough.
Perfect. And then over here, we'll get some more on. Thanks, sister.
All right. Oops.
It's all good. I got paper towel here. There you go.
Cook some omelets on the side.
Why
Same
not,
time.
right? That's a whole egg. That's awesome.
Okay.
Good idea, actually. So we're going to do a few pokes. I'll wipe up a little bit of egg, but that was good because you had no brush.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah. I'm just going to clean that up a bit.
And it's going to look so good. So what we're going to do is put this in the oven for about 20 minutes.
Would you preheat the oven at? 400
degrees.
Oh, you got the recipe anyway.
Yeah. So okay. Anyway, let's pop this in and it's going to look really good. And then we'll do our gnocchi. So that should be finished probably in about 20 minutes. So the next thing we're going to do is our gnocchi. Now, Keely, give us a little history on the old gnocchi.
Yes. Okay, so gnocchi's one of those foods that I feel embarrassed to ask for in a restaurant, just like when I go to a bakery and I don't really know how to ask for a croissant or a croissant or a croissant. Like I just feel weird saying gnocchi, but anyway, so gnocchi is how it's pronounced. And gnocchi, it says how, I did some research here, and it says, how long has gnocchi been around? Gnocchi were present 9,000 years before the birth of Christ originally. In fact, gnocchi were simply dough of cold water and flour with a more or less round shape, which was subsequently cooked in boiling water. The term gnocchi, however, means node and refers more to something hard, just like the knuckles of your fingers. So yeah.
So we're like eating really cool ancient food. This
Very
is like
ancient.
a very, very tried and true recipe.
And it's not considered pasta, it's considered a dumpling. It's made with potatoes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sis. Okay. So what I did, and I did send the recipe, but what you're going to do is you're going to take 4 russet potatoes. These are just samples. These are small ones, but you're going to take 4 medium-sized or 8 smaller ones, and you're going to turn on a pot of water. We're going to put them in the water when it's cool, turn it on, bring it to a boil, and then you're just going to wait till you can put a fork in it and it's nice and tender, but not too tender, just perfect. And then take out your potatoes from the water. They're going to be in their jackets, and let them cool. And so what we're going to do now is start the process. So all you got to do is cook up your russet potatoes, and then we're going to start this process now. So I've already peeled off a lot of the jackets. So now you can just use like a potato peeler. Do you have like a paper towel or something? I'll get this.
Yeah.
And you're just going to pop that in. And then the next thing we're going to do after we get our potatoes peeled is we're going to rice them. And I just realized I had a ricer, which is one of these things, but you don't need to have one of these things. I'll show you a couple other options. You can simply mash it. All you got to do is get the lumps out. Or the other option you can do is you can shred it like on a cheese grater. So we're going to start the process of ricing, but I will show you. You can actually, you can use just your basic nice, I think a small hole masher is good. Or you could take a potato and just take a grater and do something like that. And that'll take the lumps out too. But what I'm going to do is the ricer because it's kind of fun. So I'm going to stick a couple potatoes in at a time. And you can see how they're really fine.
Oh, that's really cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And all it really, gnocchi is so easy. Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Sis.
Yep.
Gnocchi is so easy to make. And I think it's one of those really nice Sunday dinner kind of things you can do because it takes time. It doesn't take a long time, but it's simple food and it does take time because we're doing the ricing and stuff.
I guess you could do this with cauliflower. Is this how you get rice cauliflower?
I don't know.
Probably.
So what we're gonna do, we thought we would do this part like right from scratch rather than having everything all organized.
I'm just gonna clean a little bit more.
Yeah.
Put that in here.
Sure.
Is it too lumpy?
Might be.
Okay.
We'll stick a couple more potatoes in.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
And the thing I thought was kind of cool about gnocchi is that you do the same kind of thing when you make it as when you're making pasta. Not that I've ever made homemade pasta before. And my husband's home from work too, so he's gonna come through the door in a second.
Gnocchi is also something that I have never actually made because I was intimidated by it, and then seeing how easy this is, like I will make it.
It is so easy.
How many
to make.
times have you practiced this week with the gnocchi?
Oh, 3 times. I've done it a few times. Because you know, the funny thing is, I used to make it a long time ago, but I made bigger balls, like bigger potato balls. This one we're gonna do smaller. We got 2 more potatoes. Okay, thank you. Make sure the water's boiling. Get it up high.
Okay, get this from the bottom. Okay, it's very light and fluffy. I can see why a ricer is actually pretty good, or whatever you use to make it so fluffy.
Isn't it nice? Okay.
It's on regular TV. Hi.
The pizza guy's here.
Okay, that's really nice and fluffy.
So the next thing you're gonna do, and you've probably seen when people make pasta, they make a little well. I probably should get a fork instead. There we go. You know, the recipe calls for 1 egg, but I do too. I don't know why, but I do. I like it. It seems to have turned out well. Thanks, son. And then you just mix that. We're gonna get this like that. So you got 2 eggs and plain old potatoes. Now this I'm gonna add a little bit of salt in. And I'm gonna put a little bit of pepper in. Where's that? There it is. And then what we're gonna do is just take this mound of potato and egg, and we're gonna throw it on our counter. So I have a little bit of flour here. I can even move this too.
There's other flowers.
Yeah, that's for we're gonna throw that on right now. And you don't need this much flour, you really don't, but you never know. So I'm gonna throw this down. Of course, you can get your spatula, come out a little bit better. Oh, I think we're good. Okay, so we have our potato here now, and I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of flour over it. I'll start with just a little bit, and I'll just start kneading it. So you're definitely gonna get a lot of flour mess, but wait till you try it. It's just so good. I'll do the rest here. And there's a point where you're like, is this gonna come together? It will come together. So now it's starting to make a nice little ball. It's awesome. Probably don't need any more of that, but you can feel it as you're making it pull together. I don't need any more flour. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take a knife and I'm gonna cut it into 4. There we go. So I'll stick 3 aside, and this is when we're gonna make our rope. And it's stunning how much this mixture makes as well. It's just amazing. So there's the rope. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this gnocchi. I'm gonna get a little, I think I'll just get this little thing here. I'll stick it in. So I'm gonna cut it into like little inch pieces. You can make it as large as you want, doesn't matter. It's gonna turn out good. Then I'll get a clean fork and I'll show you what you can do. Yeah. Does anybody have questions?
I'm just amazed it came together that easily.
Isn't it crazy? I know. You think you're a star.
You make it look so easy, Tara.
No, it's easy, trust me. It is. It is easy. Here's something. I normally would just put my gnocchi in like that. You can do whatever you want. You can make it into a dimple and throw it in. You can keep it whole like that if you like. Or if you want to make it fancy, you put your fork down and you roll the gnocchi down.
That would hold the sauce.
Yeah, that would hold the sauce right there.
With the dimple and the
Yeah.
little.
So that's what we're doing. We're gonna pop this in the water in a few minutes. But really, trust me, it's very easy. Easy to make. People make it sound, like Keely said, that it's difficult, and it's not.
Well, I think it's because I usually watch things like MasterChef where they're running around and screaming and quickly making gnocchi, and you're like, that looks hard. So it's not. You're not running around.
That's right. No drama.
Nope.
So to me personally, I just think this is one of the nicest recipes that you can make on a Sunday afternoon if you're having, whether it's just you for dinner or whether you're having your family over. You can also get people in the kitchen to help you. That's kind of like the Italian way anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
My sister grew up in North Burnaby with a lot of Italians. So I like the way that they lived. Their lifestyle was a lot of family over, a lot of pizza, a lot of good food, a lot of socializing, and always a lot of eating. So, and what I always liked about their foods too, is that they were simple. Simplicity. So that's just, look at how much we're making with just a few potatoes, 2 eggs, and some flour. It's just incredible. And then what we're gonna do when we're all done this is toss it in the water, which will be in a minute. We'll keep an eye on our tuna as well, which that still should be about 10 minutes, I would say. But like I said, you don't have to roll the gnocchi down a fork. You can have a whole pillow like that. Or my sister was saying, it's called knuckles. You can put your little knuckle mark in it. Gnocchi is a knuckle indentation. So I think we're good.
They feel fluffy too. Like,
don't they feel good?
It's really light.
So we'll do a couple more. We'll finish this off.
Okay.
Since we have a lot of time.
So I have a question, Tara. It's Julie.
Yes. Yes.
So is it like, so gnocchi seems to be kind of the standard, and then I guess it's about like whether you put a sauce or what you do for a sauce on it?
Yes. And my favorite way to have gnocchi, honestly, is just some brown butter and sage, crispy sage in a pan.
Okay.
But I mean, you could do a full-on gratin. You could cook this up, put it in a pan with your Parmesan cheese and sauces. I mean, it's going to be so good. We're almost ready to get this in.
Yep, good stuff. Okay.
But what a simple dish.
Well, you make it look simple.
I honestly didn't know until today, and I've been around
This is
a
my
lot of
sister's
Italian.
first time.
I honestly didn't know it was made. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know it was made from potatoes. I didn't know.
Now you know.
It's something I've only ever ordered out, and I love it, but I've just never thought about making it.
But the cool thing is you can make it your own. You can toss
So
cheese in it. I mean, the thing I like about this simple kind of food, and because if you mash potatoes in your life, you know you've added cheese to mashed potatoes or onions or whatever. You can just make it your own. Potatoes are so tough, you know, they're tough vegetables, so you can just do it. So I'm gonna wash my hands, and we're gonna pop these into the water. So you're gonna want to get your water boiling, which it is right now. And let's take it over. Okay, so let's pop some in. I think I should probably. So what's gonna happen is they're just gonna float to the bottom, and you're gonna work in batches. You don't need to throw a ton in at a time. And in about 20 or 30 seconds, they're gonna start floating to the top. And so I'll just, I'll put a couple more in, and then you start fishing them out, and then we'll put them in a pan. Or sometimes you can drain them too, if they're, you know, if you want to drain them on a paper towel before putting them in a pan. But they'll start popping up in a minute.
What makes them float?
God, I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. We're gonna go Google it.
I'm good. I'm a chemist, so I don't know.
I'm what?
I'm a chemist, so I want to know.
I don't know what makes them float. Now that is a good question, but you see, they're starting to come up. See?
Yeah, it is.
It's the same as pierogies. Pierogies do the same thing.
That's
Yeah.
right. See, all made with potatoes. So I'm going to stick this pan on. So potatoes, they're tough, right? Look at those gorgeous hunks of carbohydrate heaven. There we go.
My mom's gnocchis used to melt in our mouths. They were
Oh.
so good.
Well, I don't know if these will melt, but they will do. Everybody, you know what? There's another version of gnocchi that I saw that I bet is very melty, and that's made with ricotta. You can make, there's recipes with ricotta cheese too.
Oh,
That
interesting.
kind of
I've got some ricotta. I've been wondering what I should do with it.
Why not?
Yeah.
You got your potatoes, your ricotta. So we'll do another batch. This is on nice and high now. We'll get these gnocchis going. But what makes them float? We got to figure that question out. We had all the history made before Christ.
It's Jeopardy.
A Jeopardy question.
Well, they got stuck, so that's interesting. Jeopardy, the woman that's won 33 games in a row now,
Yeah.
she got stuck. She couldn't answer the question, and it was where in Canada, or what island in Canada is known for potatoes, or something along those lines.
Oh, Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, but none of them got it, and then the host didn't even know the answer.
Come on.
So it's kind of appropriate. Jeopardy game. We were talking about potatoes last night.
I mean, really, potatoes in every single country, most countries have got something wonderful that they make with them.
So
I
is
have-
this, is it in a pan just with some butter and you've got
Yeah,
some,
I put a little tiny bit of olive oil in only because I ran out of butter.
yeah,
But, you can brown butter, so you can have some nice brown butter gnocchi. But these will start to crisp up in a minute. But what I absolutely love is the sage. The sage starts to cook up and it's quite meaty. And I just love it.
okay.
So is the idea then to actually get the gnocchis brown?
Yeah,
Okay.
get it toasty. Yeah, these ones could probably go over in that bowl for now. So I've been obsessed with watching Italian cooking shows lately, like that Daniele Tucci. If anybody's watched him on CNN. And
No.
reading a book on La Dolce Vita, because this pandemic, you know, has you kind of wanting to enjoy the simple life, I think, a little bit more after this pandemic. So
I didn't realize I was on mute when I was talking about why pierogies float, and it's to do with density. And so as they're cooking, the density changes. I guess there's, and
Okay.
then they begin to float. So what
Wow.
part of it becomes less dense, I don't know.
that's interesting.
Thank you, Betty.
I think that's the same with bagels when you
Yeah,
eventually boil them in potato water.
Oh, yeah.
and the same when you're making donuts and whatever, because when you first put them in, they kind of sink, but then they start floating up. And then you flip them over.
Yeah,
There you go, science.
Yeah.
That's physics.
Right.
It's
How's
just
everybody
cooking.
doing?
They're looking
Um,
gorgeous.
Compliments, by the way, to your camera operator who's doing a fantastic job.
This is
Thanks,
my son,
Liam.
Liam.
Hi,
Liam,
Liam.
doing great. We can see everything.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I
Yeah.
had to have him today because he did it last time, and he's just natural. So
So I guess this is dinner tonight again. Sorry about that, Liam.
that's when the camera will be set down when he's eating dinner. So look at that. They're getting toasty, I think. Pretty good. We'll put in some more, but I think these can actually. So there you go. Pretty simple way to make a nice Sunday dinner, a nice dinner. And just to let you know, you can actually freeze gnocchi as well prior to cooking it. Just
Okay.
put it on a cooking sheet and let it freeze in the freezer for a little while. So it's like flash frozen, and then stick it in a bag, and then you've got all this gnocchi to have for another time.
There is a gluten-free bakery in Port Coquitlam, just off
Yes.
the Maryhill bypass, called Delish. And they sell gluten-free gnocchi frozen.
Wow.
And they do a lot of vegan, and like they actually cater to more than just gluten-free. But if anyone, it's called Delish,
amazing.
and they're awesome.
Mm.
That's great. Our local little corner grocery store sells it gluten-free. It's amazing.
Oh wow, those
Yeah.
are wonderful.
That looks amazing.
We've got more sage leaves here. And stick those in. The sage is really good. It's almost got a meaty texture if you've not had it before, like in a gnocchi.
Mhm.
I mean, you can make it look a lot prettier than what I've got it in this bowl when it's all said and done, but overall,
Still tastes the same.
when you're plating it, you can just sprinkle it maybe with some sage or even some parsley, and you can even make a little butter sauce. Or you can just do some nice Alfredo from a can or a jar, and some tomato sauce from a can or a jar.
Wow,
That looks good.
it looks good.
All right, so we can let this batch go, and now we're taking out our tuna melt. Will be done in a minute.
Mm.
It smells so good. Oh, yeah, perfect. So there's the. Yeah. Just give that a little decoration.
That's dill, right?
Yeah.
Dill.
Some nice dill on here. And you can even put it on beforehand if you want, but it's still pretty, like just like that. You can even cut into it if you want.
Do you want me to put the lemon on too?
Oh,
Okay.
we're just doing our second batch here. And like you saw, there's so much more to cook. I'll just finish up this batch, but that is like such a lot of food for just a small amount of ingredients. And that's what I love about it. It's inexpensive. People everywhere can pick this up at the store: flour, potatoes, eggs, a few herbs. You can use dried herbs too, garlic. Just make it your own. So here's our tuna melt that's out of the oven, and I think I'll just grab a plate and we'll cut into it.
And it just smells so good. Thanks.
And how many times have we had that this week? We had it too, right? Yeah.
It's just so good. Oh, that pastry, that puff pastry, just beautiful.
We could not buy puff pastry this Christmas. We couldn't find it to save our lives in the grocery stores.
Okay. I'll do a couple little servings here. Get this one here. Just beautiful. And it's just so fresh. So look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yum.
So good.
Looks nice.
Yeah, I've had it. I had it this week. And I was a little
You
sad.
too?
I was a little sad when it came to the end. I'm like, oh no. Oh, just delicious. Now,
I guess you could do salmon too, couldn't you?
What's that?
You could do it with salmon?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
A tin of salmon.
Canned salmon.
I mean, you could make it with any kind of cold cuts and cheese if you like. I mean, the options are endless, but I mean, this whole thing is probably less than $5 to make, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend getting the Great Value puff pastry at Walmart. It has got a lot in it, and it's pretty darn good, I have to say, and it smells so good too in here.
That's a good question.
And then we've got the gnocchi, and you can serve it any way you like. We just like it kind of plain, but then you could just put some nice Parmesan cheese on it. If you got some pepper handy, you can throw some pepper on it. And look at that. Now, when did we start making this gnocchi? I mean, the potatoes were done. That's 20 minutes there. But think of how
Just
quick
boiling potatoes.
and inexpensive all this stuff is that you
Yeah.
can make.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so
Yeah.
hungry.
Yeah,
At
that looks
the end of the day,
wonderful.
what I love about this kind of cooking is that it's so succulent and it's so
Yeah.
comforting, but it can be an elegant meal that you serve people for lunch or
That's
dinner.
right. Tara, what is the temperature for the tuna melt?
What was that?
What was the temperature
Yeah,
for the tuna melt?
400 degrees.
400. Thank you.
400 degrees, and my sister was good enough to remind me to preheat the oven. So we got it in the oven.
This looks nice and golden, and you know that.
And it takes about 20 minutes, but look at, and then we made all that gnocchi in the interim. So a lot of good food, a lot of inexpensive food.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I would say this is under $10,
Yes.
all of this. So,
Yeah.
and this is only a fraction of the gnocchi, right? So this is $10, maybe 12 at the very most, but you've got meals that you can take for lunch, or the kids can have a good dinner after
Mhm.
school with a nice salad or something like that. So
Yeah.
there's ways you can make really great food very inexpensively. And I really do think, going back to some of the old school cookbooks, like you heard, gnocchi is a very old dish. So I think a lot of these Italian cookbooks and stuff, it's just really nice to dig in and find out what you can make, and you can make it really nutritious as well. So a nice fresh tomato sauce, you can just get a bunch of tomatoes, pop them up, put them in a pot with a bit of olive oil and onion, and that would be a nice pulpy sauce with a bit of maybe beef broth or vegetable broth, chicken broth, and just toss that on too for the family, so they get a lot of good nutrition, and it's just very easy. And I think too, making stuff like this, it's nice to have help in the kitchen, because that is what community is. It's for your kids, for the family in the kitchen, and just sharing meals together. Now my son knows how to make gnocchi. You know?
I know now how to make you. George loves potatoes, so I will try it.
Oh, come on, Yolanda, you really? We all know you don't cook.
But she could start.
You should be going over to Keely's house for some.
An 800 number, just give us a call. Hold on, you can peek out the window tonight.
Oh, I'll tell you something. One of our neighbors broke her wrist and shoulder. So I organized a meal train and I cook, I think, 3 days a week, last week and this week for this lady. So I did cook.
Yay.
Well done.
And my George and Paul are saying, oh my God, there should be more accidents in the neighborhood.
Oh, goodness.
I was cooking, and then for Christmas, I did the cooking exchange, and I tried all of the cookie recipes. I tried Kathy's, I tried Betty's, and so now I'm making shortbread
Yeah.
for the first time.
Oh, that's good.
After 69 years.
Nice and easy. Flour and butter and sugar.
Yeah,
You see?
I never knew it was that easy.
You can start anytime.
My
many
daughter is
easy
saying I should have done it a long time ago, but it's great.
I know we mentioned it maybe a few years
Good.
ago.
Does anyone have any questions for Tara or Keely?
Anyway, okay, I'll take a look at the orbit and see what I can find out. But right now, I would say
Oh, we have
I don't know who
somebody.
that is, but that looks awesome, Tara and Keely.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
You
much for
Yeah.
sharing.
When
If
you
you're a ketchup person,
make
I
it
want-
and you freeze it, do you have to thaw it first before you put it in the frozen state, or should it be thawed first?
what's that?
Sorry, can you say that again?
The question is, do you
Do
have
you, when you freeze the gnocchi, before you cook it,
Okay, so what you do?
you have to thaw
I
it
think-
out?
Yeah, so what you do if you want to freeze gnocchi, don't cook it first. So remember when we rolled it out and
That-
just
yeah.
cut it into those, what you're gonna do is you're gonna stick it on a little tray or cookie sheet, just put something in the freezer so it flash freezes it.
Yeah.
So then you can take it out of the freezer, get your Ziploc bag or your Tupperware, and you can just throw it in and then they remain separate. They won't stick together. And then that
Okay.
way, when it's time to make your
But when
gnocchi,
you go-
when you want to make dinner one night,
When you
just
go to
stick it up
cook
the
it,
freezer. What's that?
Oh, do you have to thaw it out
so
first
when you
before
go
you
to
cook it?
cook it, can you cook it in its frozen state, or do you have to thaw it out?
Yes, defrost it. Yeah.
Okay.
It won't take
Do you
long.
have to thaw it before you cook it?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
No,
And
because
it
it's
won't
small.
take long.
Yeah.
It won't take long. It won't take long to defrost.
Mhm.
And then you just put it in that boiling pot.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never cooked it frozen,
Yeah.
but I think you can. I mean, you could give it a try. You buy it frozen, so you
Yeah.
could even try it. I mean, give it a try. I've not cooked it from frozen when I've made it from scratch, but I bet it would be just fine, to be honest. So
Sylvia, one of our participants from Kelowna, is saying that you can cook it frozen.
okay, good. Oh, good.
Thanks,
That's-
Sylvia.
Now we know why it floats and that you can cook it from frozen.
And we know how old the recipe is.
Well, I cook the pierogies from frozen, like I'll make the pierogies,
Yeah.
wash freeze them, like you say, and whatever, and then just take them out and drop them into the pot. And they
Perfect.
cook up and perfectly.
That's awesome. That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good for me too.
So
Those
I'm
potatoes are tough, you know, they really are. So
I wanted to ask, and I wish we had the ability to smell on you on the virtual, because it looks so good. Especially that tuna melt. But
It should be
um,
just something.
are we talking about, is it Yoki or Gnocchi? Y or N?
So it's a silent G, so we don't have to say Gnocchi, but you
Okay.
can. It would make people giggle. But it's like a Y, like a gnocchi.
Okay. Now, if you, oh, I see there. Thank you.
Gnocchi, gnocchi.
You don't want to know how you spelled it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there's from the chat, Sylvia says, if it will look, oh, it will lose its shape if it's defrosted when you, so it should be cooked from frozen. Someone was asking that, so it will lose its shape if it's defrosted. So that's one tip that Sylvia, thanks Sylvia for that.
That's really, that's an awesome tip. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And it just saves you that time if you can just take it from the freezer to the pot. So that's awesome.
that's right.
Yeah.
Easy for me. Is there any more questions from our
Yeah.
audience?
Yeah, I had one more.
Okay.
It, for the gnocchi, it looks like it makes a large quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is the best way to warm up if you have leftovers?
Did we throw it in the microwave the other day? You can put it in the oven, I guess.
Because you want
put it
it,
in a casserole dish. Yeah, I put it in the casserole dish and just rewarm it. Or
to keep it a bit crusty, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been the oven probably.
Yeah. Thank you.
You could probably pop it right back in the pan, the fry pan on the stove.
Okay, yeah.
It would keep it crusty and
Yeah, it would be totally. That's
One thing about it is it's very filling too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Very tasty and very simple, right? So simple.
Yes.
Yeah, you can add anything with it. It's no different than a pierogi in a way that you can just add anything to your pierogies. Whether it's meats or vegetables, you can do the same thing with your gnocchi too. So, and it is filling and it's really good. And we still have, there's lots more to cook up.
You can freeze it.
Yes.
Yeah, we can. But maybe I'm learning things too. Maybe it has lost its shape already over there.
Well,
that's why that prayer at the beginning was so good, because everybody's contributed some great ideas that I didn't really even know. So that's wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. Unless
Yes,
is there
thank
any
you.
more questions from our audience? Otherwise, well, thank you so much. Oh,
thanks for having us, by the way. It's our pleasure.
Oh, no, we enjoyed it. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
really.
stepping up. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
I
much.
had a question. Hi, it's Sheila here. Sorry, I have problems with my camera. I can't get it working. Are you going to be offering more of these, or is this a one-off? Or
The Spring
Have you done them?
Community Kitchen does one event a month.
oh, okay. I
So,
don't
yeah.
know much
Nice.
about it, so
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page, and if you registered for this, then you'll get subsequent emails. So if you just got it passed on to you through Tara or someone else, then you can always just go to Spring Street Community Kitchen Facebook page, and you can register for an event through there.
perfect.
And all the
Thank you.
back ones are on our YouTube channel, so you can watch all the ones that we've done before on the Spring Street Community Kitchen in YouTube, so you can see what we did before.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I'll be
And
happy
we're
to do
always
that.
looking for chefs. So just a plug there. If anyone, has a burning desire to share a great recipe, it's a pretty tame audience. But yeah, we'd love to have you, and whichever way you can support, right? So.